Welcome to another episode of MicroShiner with Life Distilled. Again, I'm Brian, and I'm here with Fanie, and I am at, name the distillery again?
Van Wees Distilleerderij de Ooievaar.
Yeah, I couldn't even pronounce that if I tried. So, but again, we're in the city of Amsterdam. Thank you so much for having me. I know it's kind of like last minute spur of the moment, but I've heard a lot about you. You are doing some amazing work here. I was just at the location downtown, and the name of that was Van Wees.
Proeflokaal Van Wees.
Yes, precisely. That's the Dutch.
That's our tasting room.
Exactly, perfect. No, that was great. Valentine gave me the good tour, the good tasting of just genevers, the young, the old, and then the 20-year-old, which he kind of snuck to me on the side because that was so fantastic. And but yeah, great location downtown. But you also have a beautiful place out here on the Jordan. This is beautiful. So you have quite the spread in front of me. Where do we start? How do we go? Let's begin.
Well, you had a tasting, but I think it should have been the other way around. Since it's better to know something more about the production.
Yeah.
And then taste.
Okay.
So we'll do that now.
Okay.
And what I show you by smelling, so I let you smell and then it's shown to you.
Okay.
What words can't say.
Okay.
That there's quite a difference from what we're doing and what's done all over the world. Amsterdam was famous for the method of fine distilling, and most distilleries do only the rough distilling, like making mulled wine, whiskey. They ferment stuff, and after fermenting they distill it, and then it's distilled perhaps once or twice again, and then it's or either eau de vie if it's made from fruit, or it's mulled wine if it's made from grains. Okay. And grains can be made to whiskey or to genever, although you should think it's made of grain, but most of the genevers in Holland are not made from grain, but from sugar beet.
Okay.
So that's the first dissolution. Another one is that in Holland you can make genever also from industrial alcohol, and that's what most genever is made from. Okay. And in the old days they used to ferment grain and then have it distilled until a percentage 3 times to 48%. And after that you got this. This is not to drink, only to sniff.
Only sniff. That's a good thing to point out. I usually drink everything.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty robust, I guess. A good term. It's pretty big, very. Now this is okay. So this is 48% alcohol. So that's pretty high. But so what do you use this from, or where does this go from here?
That's what I'm about to explain.
Okay, perfect.
This is the start.
Okay.
It's a process we don't do. They ferment grains, and then in 3 times they distill it until this. First time it's 6%. When you ferment it, it's about 6%. Then you will distill it once, and they call that rough distillate, and that's 12%, about 12. Okay. Might be more. It depends on how far they go, how low they go. And then you distill it the second time and becomes 24%, and that's called single malt. And then another time, and that's 48%, and it's called the best malt. The best wet, free translated, but you won't understand.
Yeah, okay.
Best nut. And that is what you have in this glass. And each time you distill it, you start with 2,000 liters, and when you're at that part, the second part, the single malt, you only got left 200 liters of the 2,000 liters. So you have to do this 10 times to do another third time.
Okay.
And you can imagine that's expensive and it costs a lot of time. So that's how they did it before 19th century.
Okay.
Then they invented the industrial alcohol, which was done not in rough kettles, in the copper pot stills, which you probably know. It's such a kettle as over there. That's where this one is made in.
Okay.
But they made the column distill vessels, and then you can get in 24 hours from 0% and then ferment it to 6%. That costs more than 24 hours fermenting process. Right. But from 6% to 96%.
Okay.
And they have a very clean distillate, which has nothing to do with that in your glass anymore, because it's colorless. It doesn't smell and it doesn't taste. It's very clean.
Got it.
As clean to clean your tools in a hospital, but not to drink. I think.
Right.
Because if you drink something, you want to taste something.
Right.
And if you don't taste anything, it's not worth drinking.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's how they do it in modern times. But the first glass, you can imagine, is not very likely to be drank. It's too rough.
Yeah, very rough.
You should distill it another time. And it wasn't done fourth or fifth times before the 19th century very much.
Right.
But it was done in some places in Holland, as in Amsterdam, in different kettles. What's different about the kettles, I'll explain when we do the tour.
Okay.
Because else it's different.
Okay.
It's difficult to explain. What you become while distilling it the fourth and fifth time in one process, so in one time you distill it the fourth and fifth time, is this.
Okay. Way more clean.
This one is distilled with juniper berries and herbs and different botanicals in order to get that one.
Yes, now that smells like your typical kind of, juniper heavy gin.
If I would ask you to take a sip, which one would you choose?
Definitely this one.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, this is called, if I would ask you what is old and what is young genever, what would you answer?
I mean, that kind of smells older. I mean, because the younger one is very clean, in terms of smell and, very vibrant, This one kind of...
Is that an old one or a young one?
Young.
No.
This is old.
This is old.
This is old. So this is in fact an old genever versus this one.
I'll explain you the difference.
Okay.
Old genever was made by first making that glass, and after that glass.
Okay.
It's the old method of distilling.
Old method. Okay, fantastic.
It's not old in age. It's old in production.
Love it. Okay, that's
young genever is the industrial genever.
Okay.
And which, we do that later because it's. I have this in a row for a reason.
Right.
If young genever is made always from industrial genever. And in order to have it something to do with genever, in the Dutch, according to the Dutch law, it might have about 15% of this inside. It's not necessary. Even so, if you call it young genever, it's not even necessary to have juniper berries inside.
Okay.
Although I think that if you call it genever, it should have juniper berries because that's where the name is coming from.
Yeah.
So in Holland, I'm a bit furious about that. In Holland, genever is become more like vodka than it has to do with genever.
Yeah.
Then we go to the second two glasses. It's a pair, just like these. This is a malt, a genever. You might probably know it. It's korenwijn.
Don't know it.
Malt wine. It's a malt made of grains.
Got it.
Different ones. In Holland, malt wine should be made of at least 51% of this.
Got it.
But if you smell that, you will notice that it's not very nice.
Yeah.
I think it's not very nice.
Right.
It's not ready. To me, it's not. As a fine distillery, it's not ready yet.
Right.
So you may also make it with some of this. Okay. But if you do that, in total, it should be 70% at least.
Okay.
Of these both.
Okay.
We make this one that's more than 70% of these two.
Okay.
We make this one that's only this one.
Okay.
So please, I'll pour you some.
Yeah.
Smell the difference, and You might think that glass 1, 3 and 4 are in the same distance as 1 and 2.
Okay, so that's the mold one. I'm keeping them in order, not getting lost. Oh, the mold one, okay.
Oh, not too much. It's difficult to turn.
Now, yes, again, I'm cheating. I did the tasting first, but I tasted this. This stuff's fantastic. It's great. Okay.
Normally, we would let you sniff this one after these. But since I'd like to compare these two with these two, I did it like this. And why those two? Because this is 40 and that's 40.
Right.
But although it's the same percentage, one is more likely to be drunk again.
Right. Okay.
Yeah?
Now this is safe to taste, right? Okay.
I'd advise you to taste afterward, to smell them first, and then decide, because if you drink these, it's difficult to drink these.
Okay. Okay, so then let's move on.
I'll tell you something about it before you taste. This one is our regular young grain genever. So this one is not made of sugar beet, it's pure grain.
Okay.
If you put grain on the label, it should be 100% grain.
Absolutely.
And although it's not necessary to put anything of this inside, let's stand this. We do both inside.
Okay.
And together it's 20% of both.
Okay.
So if you compare it to the Dutch law, this would nearly be an old genever.
Old genever, okay.
Although we don't want to make real young genever as it's in the law, because we don't think that has anything to do with genever.
Got it.
So we make our own, we give our own properties to our gins.
Okay.
It's the same as in the wine districts, where people who don't agree with which grapes they should use in the grapes.
Precisely.
Yeah, and then they're not allowed to call it appellation or
meritage.
d'origine contrôlée.
Yeah, exactly. Cabernet versus, what percentage of wine, I get it. Well, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this one is distilled with all different botanicals, which are like anise, so it's chives, fennel, celery, camel, anise, etc.
Okay.
And all these
that's nice. That smells great.
all these vegetables,
right?
We distill separately.
Oh, so you do a separate distillate for like chives or like you said. Wow.
Yes.
And then you blend them all as separate liquids.
Yeah. This one is advised to be drank with Dutch herring.
Dutch herring. Oh, okay, fantastic.
And they advise, in Holland they advise the malt wine, the korenwijn, to drink with Dutch herring.
Okay.
But that's strong, it's 40%, it's very tasty, too much, a little bit too much for me.
Right, okay.
And if you don't like herring, you should drink this one. But if you like herring, you don't want the flavor of herring to be disturbed. And then you should drink this one, then because it lifts the flavor of the herring.
Absolutely, okay. All right.
Then this one is roggenaar, that's made of rye.
Okay, it's a rye
Only
based spirit.
pure rye, yeah.
Okay, pure rye. Oh yeah, way different. You definitely get the grain.
Yeah.
That's great. Way different, comparison.
Yeah.
Not that you can even compare the two, but this is way more floral. A lot of herbs going on there. Oh, that's awesome. They're both okay.
And then I started to ask you, what's the difference between young and old? And you now know that it's the process.
It is the process.
But we also have genevers, and that are the ones that are in stone bottles.
Right.
That are put in barrels, oak barrels.
Okay.
So we do have genevers that you can give an age to.
Okay.
And to let you know what the difference is between the aging, what does the barrel do to the product. This one is that one, 3 years old. Nothing different from this. It's made and then put on a barrel.
Okay.
And this is the same, 15 years old. Not done anything to it in the 15 years. It's exactly this one, but then 50 years old. So
Fantastic.
Smell.
Okay. All right. No, definitely. I mean, I guess that's the hard part. I was having a hard time figuring out with, because young and old, and then I've also heard of the perfect genever, which is like more of like a liqueur, I guess, sweeter, lower in alcohol.
The perfect genever, you call that? Sweet?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I've seen it already. It's kind of like a pink almost. It's very. I went to a brown bar the other day, and that's what we had: the young, the old, and then the perfect genever. I guess is what it was called. And anyway,
if it's sweet, it's nothing to do with genever.
Right? Exactly.
It's lemonade.
Yeah, it's lemonade. No, that's the thing. That's what I'd like to know your thoughts on that, because I mean, because coming from when you hear of young, old, I think of it was almost like tequila. You have your silver, you have your reposado, then your añejo, and then so that's kind of like young, middle-aged, and then old, because reposado is only 6 months in oak versus añejo, which is 18 months. But and then silver's a month, and not even aged in oak, But so that's why I kind of gathered with genever. But now I'm learning it's the old techniques. So the old genever versus the young genever. It's the different styles. That's fascinating to me. I'm just learning that. That's very
and
cool.
then about the sweet genevers, it's allowed also by Dutch law to add sugar to genever.
Okay.
And why do they do this? If you make genever out of pure alcohol, neutral alcohol of 96%, and you lower it, it's very tough. It's not nice. If you add some of this, this is also not nice. And to cover these rough parts of the drink, they add sugar. If you know how to distill, you don't need any sugar.
Right.
It's dry and it's strong and soft. Although there's not any sugar inside.
That's fantastic. No, exactly. If you make it right, you don't need sugar.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. When can we start tasting some?
First, you smell them all. You smell the three?
Okay, no, I mean these.
You should smell these as well.
Are these the ssame or?
No.
Oh,
this is not.
Yeah,
there's nothing inside.
I know. I was getting excited.
Oh.
I was so anxious.
I thought I already did. Yeah. That's because I can't see the glasses.
I know, right? No, it's okay.
Usually I have the glasses and then I take the bottles and then I pour.
Okay. So 3 years.
Yes.
Versus 15.
And you might perhaps also notice that it's 15 years old, but it's not brown.
No, exactly. That's.
It's amber.
It's very nice.
It gets yellowish, beautiful amber after a few years, but it's not. It's never brown. If it's brown, it's colored by caramel.
Oh, that's very inviting. It's almost like reminds me of like maybe like a.
It's mouth-watering.
Yeah, it's almost. It almost reminds me of like an Irish whiskey. I don't want to sound offensive, but it almost like has that kind of the sweetness to it.
It's very concentrated.
This one's more my style, I think.
Wait until you tasted it. Well, and then we go to the last.
Then the young, I guess I don't want to say young genever because it's not young. This is old
This
style.
is young in age.
It's
old,
young in
but
age, right.
it's old in production method, but young in age.
Oh yeah, that's good too. Okay, yeah, that you get a little more. You get a little more of the alcohol. Not a bad thing, but you definitely get a little more.
That's definitely why we put it in a barrel.
Because then
but there's lots of people that prefer that one.
No, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the things too. It's coming from the U.S. right now. genevers are starting to still kind of come up. You know, the gin craze was there, and it's there.
It's still there?
It's kind of falling off.
Yeah.
But the genever, trying to educate people on this would be mind blowing to mixologists or bartenders and barmen all over the U.S. because
I dare to tell that even in Holland, there's not any bartender knowing this.
Yeah. Exactly.
Knowing the difference.
No, and this is the education. This is fantastic. But I mean, in terms of mixology, or mixing cocktails, creating recipes, this one has so much more room to mix. As opposed to this one, you drink more straight. And then this one's just probably great by itself too. Okay, well I'm gonna go through the line. I'm gonna go through the lineup.
Well, no, I
should I not drink yet?
To go. One Geneve to go.
Oh, I'm so excited though.
I have 20 of those, but I took some Geneves that are pretty different from it. They're all different, but I like you to show a representative part of the range.
Okay, no, definitely.
This is a new one.
I love the bottling, by the way. I love the packaging, the ceramic. The ceramic bottles are so awesome.
This is a new one.
Okay.
I developed that 4 years ago. It's called the Miracle of Amsterdam.
Whoa.
Somebody came to my place and he asked me, could you make something out of immer, of a very old grain, immer corn.
Okay.
And that's a two corn. It's the mother of spelt and wheat. And I thought, well, I don't like spelt because everybody thinks spelt is it today. And but I do want to do something that's much older than spelt, and because we have this tradition, and I like old things, history, etc. I didn't know the flavor of the grain at all, but I just went for it, and I bought a lot of kilos of the grain, and I had somebody to ferment it for me because that's not my profession.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake lots of people make, that a fine distiller should ferment. Fermenting things is something for the rough distiller.
Yeah.
And the fine distiller buys that stuff and distills it again with herbs and botanicals. That's his profession. And but this time I had to do something with the rough product because it was distilled until 12-18%, and then I had to distill it another 4 times in order to get this, because it was too rough. But it's a very typical flavor. It differs a lot from the rest, as you can smell.
No, this smells fantastic. It's very floral.
Yeah.
It's very floral.
I think it's the most elegant Genever we got.
Elegant is a good word.
Probably that's because this one is my recipe. And I'm a lady. The rest of the recipes is of my father and grandfather.
No, that's definitely. We were just at a Keukenhof, the tulip fields. It reminds me of the flowers. It's very it's not like over perfumey. It's very nice, very.
The wheat has something very oriental in the flavor. It's a very special smell. I never smelled it before.
Oriental, I like that. I like that description. Okay, that's very good.
So now you might taste.
Now I may taste. Okay.
I shouldn't drink the two first ones because the first one is 48 and the second is 60.
Okay. So there's how do you pronounce it again? Korenwijn?
Korenwijn.
Korenwijn.
Yeah.
Korenwijn. And this is like essentially mulled wine to certain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like whiskey, but then it's not as refined as whiskey. Okay. And that's probably because they stop at 48 and whiskey is much higher.
Still nice, but yeah, very harsh, lacking a lot.
It's burning.
Yeah, it is. It's not It's not all, you know. I could see where, again, I appreciate every spirit. I love it all. So it's like, okay, they're all going to be great, but it's like, you know, it's like this.
It's probably not going to reach for that bottle.
Yeah, that's not the first go-to. That's maybe what you end the night with, like whatever's left on the shelf. But quarter wine, okay. Now this is the old.
It's not a real burning, but it's
It's like a little bit of heat.
it's
Yeah.
like a farmer drink. It's too
Warm you up.
it's not elegant.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Now that I enjoy that. That's just very, very easy, common. You know. A little bit of heat there, but it falls off fast.
It's 40%, so
Little sweet,
it's
yeah.
rather high. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Then it's difficult to go from the very old one to the young
Now
one.
we're going back. Yeah. Now we're going back to the young. I can
So
tell
you
even
should-
just, you know.
Yeah.
This is young in age too. This is a little older as well, correct?
That's 1 year, at least 1 year old.
At
And
least
this
1 year
one, the only old stuff that's in there is this and this that's stored in a barrel.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's just very clean. That's very, very approachable. I mean, very easy. You know, nothing too complex.
no,
No, it's a little bit of spice, a little bit of, a lot of, you know, some flavor happening there, but nothing. Yeah, like the old in comparison, I think.
yeah, but you should start with this one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, now this one I'm excited for. This one's more of like your almost floral, typical gin, you know, but you know, not gin. It's genever, but that's very approachable. I could drink that too. That's awesome.
I think you can drink anything.
I can. I mean, like I said, I don't, you know, every spirit, you know, ESA, every spirit appreciated, you know. Okay, I'm going to go into
That's the
these
rye
three.
one,
Because
yeah.
these are the three. These are the three
These are the
ryes.
three
These
rye
are what I'm
ones,
excited
yes.
about. These are all kind of, first off, like ryes already, I can appreciate a good rye, you know. Coming from the States, rye whiskeys are big, you know, so on and so forth. Straight rye. So this is 100% rye, you know, spirit with the distilled. Each botanical is distilled on its own and then blended together, correct? No.
Some of them, most time we do the recipes together.
Okay.
But these are different rye distillates with
Okay.
different botanicals inside and then blended.
And then blended. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And you don't do any fermentation.
No, not any. It's a different profession.
Oh, I'm getting that bite in the back of the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely getting a lot more heat coming up the nose and whatnot.
That's typical rye.
That is.
Yeah.
It's so different. I mean, now that one, see, now that's great. Again, me, I love everything. But I actually probably go back to this one more.
That's why we put this one in the barrel.
Yeah.
Because we agree.
Because, yeah, it's a little too,
But lots
too
of
much
the people.
happening.
Yeah. Because if you distill this,
Got it?
it's very it's going around through your mouth. It's not balanced yet.
Uh-huh.
And after a few months, it gets more balanced, and then we put it in a bottle.
Okay.
We prefer this, but most of the people prefer this
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Okay.
because they like it to have a bite.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, 3-year-old, definitely. Starting to feel it, starting to mellow
It
out.
grows,
Yeah,
it develops.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely grows. That's the reposado, if you will. No, I'm joking. This is the añejo.
Yeah.
No, this one. Oh, yeah. So complex now. Now we're getting way more into sweeter notes. And what type of, it is oak? Is it
Oak, yeah.
charred French oak?
No, it's American oak.
It's American oak, okay. See, that's awesome. Like, that's great. Yeah, this would be my go-to, I think.
Yeah.
This one, I mean, really, come on, all of them. But no, I really like this guy. That's definitely more my style.
And then it's, in fact, wrong to drink this one because
Mhm.
that's 15 and that's 2 years old. So you're going back again.
I'm going
That's-
back.
but okay,
that's
you know
okay.
that now.
Yeah, okay, no problem. But getting more botanicals now. It's
Mhm.
almost like this guy with this guy.
Mhm.
Okay. Mm. But the flavor profile on this one is fantastic.
Mhm.
That's the Miracle, right?
Miracle of Amsterdam.
Miracle of Amsterdam.
And the Miracle of Amsterdam, that name refers to a happening in the 13th century when an ill man was with the monks in the hospital, and he was to die, and he lay by the fire, and then he got from a monk some small part of a hostie in his mouth.
What's a
But
hostie?
It's a white piece of bread, a flat piece of bread.
Okay.
In the Catholic religion, they put it under your tongue when you are dying, or when you want to ask for absolution or something.
Okay. Like a Eucharist or a communion or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, more like that you're forgiven.
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
understand. Okay.
Before you die, you want to be forgiven.
Right. Okay. Got it.
And but he couldn't keep it in his mouth because he was that ill that he spit
So, yeah.
it out in the fire.
Uh-huh.
But the next morning, the hostie wasn't burned. That piece of bread wasn't burned, so that was a miracle.
Wow. Okay.
And they took the hostie because this couldn't be something else but a miracle of God. So they took it to a special place, into another monk place, and then next day it was back in the fire again where it started. And it was the second miracle.
Wow.
So then this miracle, well, people forgot about it, but a few years later they started in Amsterdam to remember the miracle, and each year they're walking around in Amsterdam to, how do you call it, to honor the miracle, and they still do it nowadays.
Okay.
So that's it, and if you would like to search it on Google or something, and you search for Miracle of Amsterdam, you will find that each year in March or April, depends on when it's possible, they do the silent walk in Amsterdam,
Okay.
around Amsterdam, to remember this.
Very cool.
It's a religious walk, silent walk.
Very cool.
And because we are still in Amsterdam, and that's a miracle as well,
Right.
we thought, and it's a different product, very much different than other of our genevers.
Okay.
We thought this is the Miracle of Amsterdam in
That's-
our time.
Well, that's great. I'm gonna keep drinking it. Okay. Well, fantastic.
So that's genever.
That's the.
And now about gin.
Okay.
A,
Yeah.
a very small lesson about gin.
Okay. Can't
and
wait.
why is that important?
I'm doing it. Okay.
Because people are lying about gin, and I don't like that, because we make gins for years already, and then suddenly somebody thought gin should be a hype,
Mm-hmm.
and they started to make about 1,000 different types of gin,
Mm-hmm.
all with different flavors, all different bottles, all different prices, but most of them very high prices.
Mm-hmm.
And if you open the law, the European law, and you read about gin,
Mm-hmm.
then there's lots of strange things in the law. So they call dry distilled gin is either a product made of ethyl alcohol, so that could be every type of agricultural alcohol. So it's sugar beet or rice or potatoes or grain, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Right.
As long as it's a gin distillate.
Okay.
And what is an original gin distillate? It should be distilled in original kettles and with the original botanicals.
Okay.
Either that, so gin distillate made of 100% dry distilled gin is made of 100% gin distillate,
Okay.
or, and it's in the word or, it's pure grain alcohol, ethyl alcohol made of all types of ingredients,
Okay.
doesn't matter what, flavored with some of the gin distillate, or even artificial or natural aromas.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, my understanding in the States, for it to be gin, neutral-based alcohol, whether it be come from fruit brandy or whatever, grapes, grain, whatever, then juniper has to contain juniper berries to some degree in order for it to be a gin. And then from there, essentially, the sky's the limit in terms of botanicals. People do sarsaparilla root, all different kinds of, different botanicals, florals,
You can't think of it, everything is inside.
Yeah, exactly, everything. Just take the spice cabinet, empty it, and then you got a gin. So what is, I guess, now what are you're getting at, like, that's not the right way of making gin, or what is the right way?
What I think is strange is that in a law you state that it's either 100% gin distillate or a mix of neutral alcohol and gin distillate.
Okay.
So if you buy a bottle and it's called dry distilled gin, you don't know what's inside. Is it neutral alcohol with a bit of gin distillate, or is it 100% gin distillate? And if it's not 100%, is it perhaps 50 or 70 or 40?
Right. Okay.
I think they should, and also that's for genevers as well, we should be more transparent in what's in the products. And somebody gave me a bottle of a very famous gin, I won't call names, and I thought, this is very pricey. In Holland it costs about 35 to 40 euros for 7/10. And then I think, what's special about this gin? Why do people pay this amount for that rather simple gin? That must be marketing. And does it contain gin distillate at all? I don't know. Right. So that's what I think is very strange, that people in Holland and in Europe may do everything inside a bottle and let you think that it might be even 100% gin distillate, but you don't know for sure. And we make a gin, this one, for a long time already, and it's made of 50% grain alcohol and 50% gin distillate.
Okay.
But my answer to this gin that is twice the price from this one was to make 100% distillate.
Okay.
It's only for fun.
Right.
I can't sell a lot of it because I have other things to distill as well. But it's my how do you call it? Quest to let people know what's the difference between 100% distillate and a blend.
Okay.
So this is a blend of 50-50, which is already a lot. And this is a 100% one, made of 50% gin distillate and 50% Yuzu distillate. And this is a 100% gin distillate.
Oh my goodness. Now you say, what was that? Yuzu?
Yuzu, that's a Japanese fruit.
Oh, okay, just making sure. Okay. Yuzu, citrus is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
And if the gin culture is going down, it should be going up with these.
I know. No, exactly. Well, I mean, that's kind of, the States are very trendy in terms of this is in all.
In Holland as well.
And it's constantly changing, and give it another 20 years, and then I know, sex on the beach would be the next big cocktail, just like the 80s. Okay, wow.
You smell the difference between all those?
It's so fun. It's so fun. I love gin tasting because they're all so different. But so this one's the blend of the two.
Yeah.
This one's just
single gin distillate.
Single gin, just like, and this one again is what?
Grain alcohol,
just
50%,
grain alcohol.
and
Okay.
not just plain. It's grain alcohol.
It's grain alcohol, yeah.
With 50% of gin distillate.
Okay.
50-50.
So these two. Okay. And then this is gin and
Yuzu.
gin and yuzu.
Together 100%.
That's so.
So there's not any addition of neutral alcohol.
Okay, got it.
Grain alcohol.
I'm a sucker for yuzu. I love it.
You're not the only one.
I know.
Thinking of it makes me my mouth watering.
Yeah, no, definitely. They're all so fun though. All right, I'm gonna start from in this one. Okay, very sweet.
That's because of the percentage is 42.
Yeah.
And the higher the alcohol percentage gets, the sweeter it tastes.
Okay. That's fun. Okay.
Because there's not any sugar added.
Uh-huh. The yuzu, okay, this one's just a little more heat going on there. I love the aroma of this, but the flavor there, still you get the bitter citrus. And that's kind of, it's great. Again, the mixology, I think, could be there in terms of mixability. That could be fun for like
I think that one should be
different
drank without
columns.
any mix, just pure.
You don't think so? Just pure, huh?
Yeah.
Just pure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's too good to be mixed.
Yeah. Too good to be. Okay. Not true. I mean, yeah. True. I mean. And then as for just the.
The question is, would you mix a good whiskey?
This is true. Having bartended for years, I have made quite a few expensive Manhattans in my day. Some very expensive Manhattans.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of one of those things, like.
But because it's fun, or because it's just...
oh, not for me. For actual patrons that came in.
yeah.
And it's kind of, it's, I don't know the analogy. I guess it's like putting spinning rims on your Rolls Royce or something like that. Like, why would you do that to a really nice car where you put neon lights on it or something?
Yeah.
But people do it. But yes, okay, I agree. That has it's a two. I'm not a big bitter person, and this one just comes across a little bitter.
But it can't have bitter inside because bitters are not distilled.
No, I know.
It's
but
perception.
I mean, yeah, I guess the perception.
Yeah.
I guess it's the citrus, like the rind almost.
Yeah.
I get the rind of the yuzu.
Yeah.
And
the way we distill, there's not any bitter in any distillate.
right.
So if you taste bitter,
Uh-huh.
it's the idea. It can't be real
Okay.
because the bitters are not
Right.
are not vaporizing.
Right.
They dissolve in the water,
Right. Okay. Okay.
and the water stays behind if you distill.
Okay. So I'm gonna bounce around. All right. I see you're getting at now the yuzu.
Yeah.
Visiting it again.
But it's a very outspoken flavor.
It is. That's the thing. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
The yuzu, the yuzu flavor. It is so good. I almost love the smell, but drinking it is too much for me.
Yeah.
That's just the thing.
But it's not only with you. That's why gin regularly is made of a blend.
Yeah.
Also this one, if you drink one of it,
Yeah.
even in a cocktail, you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So that's why they don't sell it 100%.
Mhm.
But I wanted to show
Mm-hmm.
what a real 100% is
Right.
like.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Thank you. And like I said, the yuzu is so inviting, but it's one of those things like,
Yeah.
this is I think this
But it's
guy-
very personally because lots
Yeah.
of people prefer this
Mhm.
above this one
Yeah.
and above this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
But it's what you're used to.
Yeah, I guess it's just the Yuzu. It's nice. Like again, yeah. It's all again. It's all subjective, but at the same time, it's the Yuzu is just. It's so nice. It's inviting, but then when you're drinking it, it's like drinking the fruit. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm.
It's
Maybe
very
my-
outspoken.
Maybe
that's
my
indeed.
palate's terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not-
Well, but this
I
one
mean,
should
I haven't
be
been
easier
drinking.
for you, I
Okay.
think. And after that, you might smell and taste that one.
Okay,
this
so
one.
now these are just.
These are liqueurs.
These are the liqueurs, okay. Not to be confused with lekker. I'm learning a little bit of Dutch. Lekker.
Okay.
And then if your mouth's full, you go like this.
Oh, you don't do that?
Good. No, I like, no,
I like
not in the
it.
States. Me, I go, just do thumbs up. Mouth full, I'm like,
We like this one and we like Tui.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's waving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this is awesome. No, this is where Yuzu.
This one is lower in percentage,
Mm-hmm.
and then other flavors are lifted by the sugar that's inside.
Very good. That's awesome. That's great. Okay.
And these are only a few of our products. We make about 400 different.
400 different products.
Yeah.
That's fun. Okay. Okay.
And this is a family business. So, what generation are you?
I'm the third, and my daughters are the fourth. They're
And
working
it's-
over there. No.
And it's all right here in this little region?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'll show you around. You'll see them.
Can't wait. Did you say it started with your
Grandfather.
Grandpa.
Well, he took over some distilleries, one of the 18th century, 1782. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's from The Hague,
Wow.
coming from The Hague. Yeah.
Okay.
This one is more complex.
Yes, very.
It's made of 35 different ingredients.
Cinnamon being one of them.
Only a little bit,
Okay.
but it comes out because of it's lifted also because of other flavors.
Mm-hmm.
The most important smell, which people smell, is
Slow? Do you have, is there slow berries in here?
no,
No?
not any. It's almond,
Almond, okay.
it's cherry,
Okay.
and people smell either almond or cherry,
Almond,
and
okay.
mostly of the time not both.
Okay.
It's if you drink it and you swallow it, it's a bit of chocolate, and it's meant there's chocolate distillate inside,
Mm-hmm.
and far more. It's about 7 different distillates inside. But it's made to be a cherry chocolate,
Okay.
like the fluid chocolate,
Yeah.
like Moncherie.
Okay.
But then not Moncherie, but a handmade one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take a sip, you taste the kirsch, the cherry,
Yeah.
and then you taste the almond, which also is very much there in kirsch.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start chewing on the chocolate, you taste the chocolate, and you swallow it, and then the chocolate stays. And if you drink this one now, and you will leave, in half an hour later you will still taste it. That's because of the very strong flavors, which you can never have when you make artificial flavor. You use artificial flavors. Then you taste on the first part of your tongue. You taste what it should be tasting like. That what you want. They want you to taste like strawberry. Then you swallow it, and all that's left is sugar.
Okay.
The flavor is gone. This flavor stays.
Okay. That's awesome. No, that's great. No, definitely.
So, questions?
Yeah, questions.
Lots of them.
No, it's been very educational. I love this. This is, I mean, I'm usually just visiting whiskey distilleries or, vodka and gin in the States. But this has been a crash course in genever, and I have much to learn.
You have so many products.
We're starting with Geneva school in the last part of the year. Yes, because there's not many people in Holland that know anything about Geneva as well.
The Yuzu liqueur is fantastic too. That's really good. I really like that.
So shall I show you around?
Yeah.
Then you know,
Okay.
learn more about fine distilling.
Yeah. Well, let's end the podcast. So, cheers. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's go take a cruise. And for the viewers at home, I'm probably gonna show a video here or over here. Did you see the podcast we do? How we do it?
No,
Okay.
I'm very busy.
Just-
I haven't had time yet.
We'll look around. Okay.
She's making 400 products.
Okay. Well, cheers. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Cheers.